My dear friends, we are here to explore, to understand, and to embody the profound truth of knowing your worth. Now, you might ask, Neville, what do you mean by knowing your worth? Let me tell you, it is not merely a matter of self-esteem or confidence as the world understands it. No, it goes far deeper than that. To know your worth is to recognize and claim your divine nature, to understand that you are not separate from the great I am, but are in fact one with it. You see, my dear friends, you are not just a physical being walking upon this earth. You are consciousness itself, individualized. You are God in expression, the very power that created the universe, localized in human form. This is your true worth, and it is infinite, boundless. But how many of you truly live in this awareness? How many of you walk through your days fully cognizant of the divine power that resides within you? I dare say, not many. And why is this? It is because you have forgotten your true nature. You have allowed the appearances of the outer world to dictate your sense of worth. Let me share with you a fundamental truth. The outer world is nothing more than a reflection of your inner states. It is a mirror showing you the contents of your own consciousness. If you see limitation, lack, or unworthiness in your life, it is because these states exist within you. But remember, these are not your true nature. They are simply states you have assumed, beliefs you have accepted. Now, you might be thinking, but Neville, I've tried positive thinking, I've recited affirmations, I've visualized success, and yet I still don't feel worthy. My dear friends, let me assure you, knowing your worth goes far beyond these surface level techniques. It is not about convincing yourself of your worth through repetition or force. It is about awakening to the truth that has always been. You see, you cannot become worthy. You already are worthy. Your task is not to achieve worth, but to recognize and embody the worth that is inherently yours. It is to shed the false beliefs and limitations that have obscured your true nature. So how do we do this? How do we come to know our true worth? The answer lies in what I call the law of assumption. This law states that you become what you assume yourself to be. If you persist in assuming a state, it must and will become your reality. Now, when I speak of assumption, I do not mean mere wishful thinking or daydreaming. I speak of a deep, unshakable knowing. It is the feeling of already being that which you desire to be. It is living from the end, experiencing now what you would experience if your desire were already fulfilled. In the context of knowing your worth, this means assuming the state of one who is fully aware of their divine nature. It means feeling now what you would feel if you truly knew, beyond all doubt, that you are one with the infinite power of the universe. It means living, moving, and having your being in the awareness of your... But how do we make this assumption? How do we shift our consciousness to this elevated state? The key lies in your imagination. Your imagination is not some frivolous faculty for idle fantasy. It is the very workshop of creation. It is through your imagination that you can transcend the limitations of your current state and enter into the reality of your choosing. I want you to close your eyes for a moment. Take a deep breath. And as you exhale, feel yourself relaxing, letting go of all tension and resistance. Now imagine yourself as you would be if you truly knew your worth. See yourself moving through the world with unshakable confidence, not born of ego, but of a deep knowing of your divine nature. Feel the peace that comes from knowing that you are one with the source of all creation. Experience the joy that arises when you recognize that all possibilities are open to you. Sense the love that flows through you when you understand that you are a unique and invaluable expression of the divine. Hold this image, this feeling, this knowing in your consciousness. Let it permeate every cell of your being. This, my dear friends, is the state of one who knows their worth. And as you persist in this assumption, as you continue to live from this state, you will find your outer world beginning to reflect this inner knowing. Now, some of you might be thinking, but Neville, this seems too simple. Surely knowing my worth can't just be a matter of imagination and assumption. Let me assure you, there is nothing more powerful than your assumption. The world you see around you, with all its seeming solidity, is nothing more than an outpicturing of the assumptions you hold in your consciousness. You see, consciousness is the only reality. All that you perceive as real and solid in your world is simply consciousness objectified. Your body, your circumstances, your relationships, all of these are but reflections of your state of consciousness. And your sense of worth, or lack thereof, is a pivotal part of that consciousness. When you truly know your worth, when you live from the assumption of your divine nature, you set in motion a complete reorganization of your world. People will respond to you differently. Opportunities will open up before you. Circumstances that once seemed insurmountable will dissolve or transform. Why? Because you have changed the cause and the effect must follow. But let me caution you, this is not about manipulating the world or others to boost your ego. True worth knows no comparison, no competition. When you truly know your worth, you have no need to prove it to anyone. You have no need to diminish others to feel better about yourself. Instead, you naturally lift others up. You recognize in them the same divine nature that you have recognized in yourself. Now, some of you might be wondering, Neville, if I'm truly one with the divine, why don't I feel it? Why do I struggle with feelings of unworthiness? My dear friends, these feelings of unworthiness are not your true self. They're simply states that you have unconsciously assumed and perpetuated. You see, from the moment of your birth, you have been bombarded with messages about your worth or lack thereof. Society, family, education, media, all of these have contributed to shaping your beliefs about yourself. And over time, you have internalized these messages, accepting them as truth. But I tell you now, these limiting beliefs are not the truth of who you are. They are simply stories you have been telling yourself, assumptions you have been living from. And just as you have assumed these limiting states, you can assume the state of one who knows their truth. Remember, the power to change your life lies not in the world around you, but in your own consciousness. It is not about changing things on the outside, but about changing your perception, your assumption on the inside. As you change your concept of self, as you assume the state of one who knows their worth, the outer world must conform to reflect this new assumption. Now, I wanted to address a concern that often arises when we speak of knowing our worth. Some of you might be thinking, but Neville, isn't it selfish or egotistical to focus so much on my own worth? Let me assure you, there is nothing selfish about recognizing and embodying your true nature. When you truly know your worth, when you live from the awareness of your divine nature, you naturally become a blessing to the world around you. You see, when you know that you are one with the source of all creation, you understand that all others are too. You recognize the divine in every person you meet, in every circumstance you encounter. This recognition leads to a profound shift in how you interact with the world. Instead of coming from a place of lack or need, you come from a place of fullness and love. Instead of seeking to get, you seek to give. For you know that in giving, you are giving to yourself. For all is one in the divine mind. Moreover, by knowing and embodying your worth, you give others permission to do the same. You become a living example of what is possible when one recognizes their true nature. In this way, knowing your worth becomes an act of service to all of humanity. But let me be clear. Knowing your worth is not a one-time event. It is not something you achieve and then are done with. It is a continuous practice, a way of being that you must choose again and again, moment by moment. For the world will constantly present you with experiences that seem to challenge your worth, that tempt you to fall back into old patterns of thinking and being. This is where the power of persistence comes in. You must persist in your assumption of worth even when the outer world seems to contradict it. You must hold fast to the truth of your being even when circumstances appear to deny it. For remember, the outer world is but a reflection. It cannot help but conform to your persistent assumption. So how do we persist in this assumption? How do we maintain our knowing of our worth in the face of life's challenges? The key lies in what I call the law of reversibility. This law states that while your outer world naturally reflects your inner states, you can also use your outer actions to reinforce and strengthen your inner assumptions. In other words, act as though you know your worth, even if you don't fully feel it yet. Carry yourself with the dignity of one who knows they are a divine being. Speak with the authority of one who understands their oneness with the source of all creation. Make decisions from the standpoint of one who recognizes their infinite value. As you persist in these outer actions, you will find your inner state naturally aligning with them. For the inner and the outer are not truly separate, but are two aspects of the same reality, consciousness expressed. Now I want to address another question that often arises. Neville, if I truly knew my worth, wouldn't I already have everything I desire? Wouldn't my life be perfect? My dear friends, knowing your worth does not mean that you will never face challenges or that every desire will instantly manifest. What it does mean is that you will approach these challenges and desires from a completely different perspective. When you know your worth, you understand that no challenge is greater than the divine power within you. You recognize that every experience, even those that seem negative, is an opportunity for growth and expansion. You see your desires not as things to be grasped at or struggled for, but as natural expressions of your divine nature, already fulfilled in the realm of infinite possibility. Moreover, knowing your worth shifts your focus from what you lack to what you already are. Instead of constantly seeking for something outside yourself to make you feel worthy, you recognize that you are already complete, already whole. Your worth is not determined by what you have or what you do, but by who you are. This shift in perspective brings with it a profound peace and contentment. It doesn't mean you stop desiring or striving for things, but rather that your desires and actions come from a place of fullness rather than lack. You create, achieve not to prove your worth, but as a joyful expression of the worth you already know you possess. Now, let us delve deeper into the practical application of knowing your worth. How do we bring this knowing into our daily lives? How do we make it more than just an intellectual concept, but a lived reality? The first step is to become aware of your current assumptions about your worth. Pay attention to your thoughts, your self-talk, your emotional reactions to situations. Notice when you feel unworthy or inferior. Observe the situations that trigger feelings of inadequacy. This awareness is crucial, for you cannot change what you do not acknowledge. Once you have become aware of these limiting assumptions, the next step is to consciously choose a new assumption. This is where your imagination comes into play. Imagine how you would think, feel, and act if you truly knew your worth. What would your self-talk be like? How would you carry yourself? How would you interact with others? Create a vivid, detailed mental image of this version of yourself, the self that knows its true worth. Feel the emotions associated with this state. Experience the confidence, the peace, the joy that comes from knowing your divine nature. Make this imaginal act as real and vivid as possible. Now here's the crucial pause. You must live from this new assumption. You must persist in the feeling of being this version of yourself, even when your outer world is not yet caught up. Remember, your outer world is a reflection of your inner state. As you persist in this new assumption, your outer world must conform to reflect it. This persistence requires faith. Not blind faith, but the faith that comes from understanding the laws of mind. It requires you to trust in the reality of your imaginal act more than the evidence of your physical senses. For remember, what you see in the physical world is but the effect. The cause lies in your consciousness. As you persist in this new assumption, you will likely face doubts and challenges. Old patterns of thinking and feeling will attempt to reassert themselves. This is natural and to be expected. When this happens, do not fight against these old patterns. Simply observe them, acknowledge them, and then gently return your attention to your new assumption of worth. It's also important to surround yourself with reminders of your true nature. This could be in the form of affirmations, but not mere surface-level positive statements. Instead, use statements that remind you of your divine nature, of your oneness with the source of all creation. Statements like I am, that I am or I, and the Father are one can be powerful reminders of your true worth. Additionally, seek out teachings, books, and experiences that reinforce your understanding of your divine nature. Immerse yourself in the wisdom of those who have realized their oneness with the divine. Let their words and experiences inspire and guide you on your own journey of self-realization. But remember, while external teachings can be helpful, the ultimate authority on your worth is you. No one else can give you your worth or take it away. It is your divine birthright, inherent in your very being. Your task is simply to recognize and claim it. Now, as you begin to truly know your worth, you may notice changes in your relationships. Some people in your life may react positively to your newfound sense of worth, while others may seem uncomfortable or even hostile. This is because your shift in consciousness disturbs the equilibrium of your existing relationships. Do not be alarmed by this. It is a natural part of the process of transformation. Some relationships may need to be released, while others will transform to align with your new state of being. Trust that as you persist in your new assumption, your outer world, including your relationships, will reorganize itself to reflect your new state of consciousness. Moreover, as you come to know your true worth, you will naturally attract people and circumstances that align with this knowing. You will find yourself in the company of those who recognize and honor their own divine nature and who can see and appreciate the divinity in you. Now, I want to address a common misconception about knowing your worth. Some people believe that truly knowing their worth would mean never experiencing negative emotions or challenges. This is not the case. Knowing your worth doesn't mean you become immune to the full spectrum of human experience. What it does mean is that you approach all experiences, positive and negative, from a place of innate worthiness. You understand that your worth is not determined by external circumstances or fleeting emotions. You recognize that even in moments of sadness, fear, or anger, your fundamental nature remains divine and worthy. This understanding allows you to move through life challenges with grace and resilience. Instead of being knocked off balance by every difficulty, you stand firm in the knowledge of who you truly are. You see challenges not as punishments or signs of your unworthiness, but as opportunities for growth and expansion. Furthermore, knowing your worth allows you to experience joy and success more fully. When you know that you are inherently worthy, you can receive life's blessings without guilt or fear. You understand that abundance is your natural state, and you allow yourself to experience it fully. Now let's explore how knowing your worth affects your creative power. You see, when you truly know your worth, you tap into the infinite creative power of the universe. You recognize that this power is not something separate from you, but is the very essence of who you are. This recognition liberates your creative faculties. No longer do you create from a place of lack or need, trying to prove your worth or fill a perceived void. Instead, you create from a place of fullness, as a joyful expression of your divine nature. When you know your worth, you understand that you are not a passive recipient of life circumstances, but the active creator of your reality. You recognize that your thoughts, beliefs, and assumptions are the building blocks of your experience. And armed with this knowledge, you begin to consciously create the life you desire. This doesn't mean that every thought instantly manifests in your physical reality. The process of creation operates according to divine timing, which may not always align with your human expectations. But when you know your worth, you trust in this divine timing. You have faith that what is for your highest good will manifest at the perfect moment. Moreover, knowing your worth allows you to dream bigger. When you understand that you are one with the source of all creation, you realize that nothing is truly impossible for you. You begin to set goals and hold visions that may seem outrageous to others, but which you know are simply expressions of your divine nature. But remember, the goal is not to achieve things in order to feel worthy. The goal is to achieve and create as an expression of the worth you already know you possess. This subtle shift in perspective changes everything. It transforms the process of achievement from a struggle to a joyful unfolding. Now let's address how knowing your worth affects your relationship with the concept of failure. In the worldly sense, failure is often seen as proof of unworthiness. But when you truly know your worth, you understand that there's no such thing as failure, only feedback and opportunities for growth. When you know your worth, you're not afraid to take risks or to make mistakes. You understand that your worth is not determined by your successes or failures, but by your inherent divine nature. This frees you to explore, to experiment, to push beyond your comfort zone. You see, every experience, whether deemed a success or failure by worldly standards, as an opportunity to learn, grow, and express your divine creativity. In conclusion, my dear friends, knowing your worth is not just about feeling good about yourself. It is about awakening to the truth of your being. It is about recognizing your oneness with the divine and living from that recognition. As you persist in this knowing, as you continue to assume the state of one who truly knows their worth, you will find your life transforming in ways you may have never thought possible. You will move through the world with a quiet confidence, a deep peace, and an unshakable joy. For you will know beyond all doubt that you are a divine being, infinite in potential, boundless in creativity, and worthy beyond measure. This is your true nature. This is your birthright. Claim it now and watch as your world transforms to reflect the magnificence of who you truly are. Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed friends, seekers of truth, I stand before you today to pose a question that has the power to transform your entire existence. This simple phrase, these 3 words, contain within them the seed of infinite possibility, the key to unlocking the vast potential that lies dormant within each and every one of you. For you see, my dear friends, the world you perceive, the life you lead, the circumstances you find yourself in, all of these are but a reflection of your own imagination. Let us begin our journey into the depths of this profound truth by first understanding that your consciousness, your awareness, is the one and only reality. Everything you experience, everything you perceive, springs forth from this wellspring of being. The world is not happening to you. It is responding to you, mirroring back to you the contents of your own mind. Well, I ask you to consider for a moment. Why not you? Why should you not be the one to experience the life of your dreams? Why should you not be the one to manifest your heart's deepest desires? Why should you not be the one to rise above all limitations and step into the fullness of your divine potential? The answer, my friends, is that there is no reason why it should not be you. No reason at all, save for the beliefs and assumptions you hold about yourself and the world around you. These beliefs, these mental constructs, are the only barrier standing between you and the realization of your wildest dreams. But here's the liberating truth. These beliefs are not fixed, immutable facts. They're simply thoughts you have thought so often with such conviction that they have calcified into what appears to be reality. But appearance is not essence, and what appears to be need not continue to be. You have within you the power to choose new thoughts, to entertain new ideas, to assume new states of being. And as you do so, as you dare to imagine yourself as the person you long to be, living the life you yearn to live, you set in motion forces beyond your current comprehension. For you see, imagination is not a flight of fancy, a mere daydream to be indulged in idle moments. Imagination is the very substance of reality. It is, in truth, the creative power of the universe made manifest in human form. When you imagine, you're engaging in the highest act of creation. I say to you again, why should you not harness this creative power, this divine imagination, to reshape your world according to your deepest desires? Consider for a moment the life you truly want to live. See it clearly in your mind's eye. Feel the emotions associated with having, being, and doing all that you desire. Allow yourself to step into that reality, to assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Now hold that feeling. Dwell in it. Make your home in that state of consciousness. For as you do so, you are impressing upon the subconscious mind the pattern of your desired reality. And the subconscious, that faithful servant, will move heaven and earth to bring about the conditions and circumstances that match your inner state. This, my friends, is the law by which all things come into being. It is not something external to you, not some capricious force that favors some and forsakes others. It is simply the way the human psyche operates, the modus operandi of consciousness itself. You are not separate from this creative process. You are not a powerless observer. subject to the whims of an uncaring universe. You are the operant power, the prime mover, the god of your universe. And it is high time you claimed your rightful place on the throne of your own being. Why not you? Why should you not step into this divine inheritance, this birthright of creative power? There's no one more qualified, no one more deserving, no one more capable of wielding this power than you. For you are, in essence, that very power individualized, made flesh, given form. But perhaps you doubt. Perhaps you look at your current circumstances, at the seeming solidity of the world around you, and you think, this cannot be. I cannot be that which you speak of. Surely, if I had such power, my life would be different. To this I say, your life appears as it does precisely because of how you have been using this power. Unconsciously, unknowingly, you have been creating your reality all along. Your beliefs, your assumptions, your habitual thoughts and feelings, these have been the blueprint from which your current experience has been constructed. But now, armed with this knowledge, you have the opportunity to use this creative power consciously, deliberately, purposefully. You have the chance to write a new script, to paint a new picture, to compose a new symphony of being. Why not you? Why should you not be the author of your own magnificent story? Why should you not be the artist who brings forth beauty and wonder into the world? Why should you not be the composer who orchestrates a life of harmony and fulfillment? The answer, my dear friends, is that you absolutely should be. You must be. For if not you, then who? If not now, then this is your moment. This is your time. This is your stage upon which to enact the grandest version of your highest vision for yourself. The universe awaits your direction, eager to mold itself according to your imagination. But remember, it is not enough to merely think about what you want, to idly wish for a better life. You must feel it. You must live from the end. You must assume the state of consciousness of already being the person you wish to be. For feeling is the secret. Feeling is the language of the subconscious. It is through your emotions, through the state of consciousness you occupy, that you communicate your desires to the depth of your being. And it is from these depths that the power to transform your world springs forth. I challenge you, here and now, to ask yourself, what would it feel like if I were living my ideal life? How would I carry myself? How would I speak? How would I think? How would I interact with the world around me? And then, my friends, I urge you to step into that feeling, to embody it fully, to wear it like a garment, to let it permeate every fiber of your being. For as you do so, you are setting in motion the forces that will bring about the manifestation of your desire. Why not you? Why should you not be the one to experience the joy, the abundance, the love, the fulfillment that you seek? There is no external authority granting permission, no cosmic gatekeeper deciding who is worthy and who is not. The only permission you need is your own. So grant yourself that permission. Give yourself the authorization to be, do, and have all that you desire. For in truth, you are not becoming something you are not. You are simply allowing the fullness of who you truly are to express itself in your experience. You are, in your essence, limitless. You are, at your core, pure potential. You are, in truth, the very substance from which all of creation is fashioned. Why then should you settle for less than the full expression of your divine nature? Why not you? Why should you not be the one to break free from the shackles of limiting beliefs? Why should you not be the one to transcend the boundaries of what you once thought possible? Why should you not be the one to step into the fullness of your power and create a life beyond your wildest dreams? The choice, my friends, is yours. It has always been yours. Every moment of every day, you are choosing the state of consciousness from which you operate. You are selecting the beliefs, the assumptions, the thoughts and feelings that form the foundation of your experience. So choose wisely. Choose consciously. Choose in alignment with your highest vision for yourself. For as you do so, you set in motion a chain of events that will culminate in the manifestation of your desire. But remember, this is not about forcing, striving, or struggling. It is not about battling against the current of life or imposing your will upon the world. It is about aligning yourself with the natural creative forces of the universe. It's about allowing your true nature to express itself fully and freely. Why not you? Why should you not be the one to embody the qualities you admire, to experience the joys you long for, to achieve the goals you've set for yourself? There is no valid reason, no justifiable excuse. The only thing standing in your way is your own imagination, or rather, the limits you have placed upon it. So I implore you, expand your imagination, dare to dream bigger, dare to envision a life so magnificent, so fulfilling, so aligned with your deepest truth that it takes your breath away. And then, my friends, dare to believe that this life is not only possible for you, but that it is your birthright, your destiny, your true inheritance. For you to not separate from the creative power of the universe. You are not distant from the source of all that is. You are that power individualized, that source personified. You are, in the most profound sense, the creator of your own reality. Why not you? Why should you not step fully into this divine role, this sacred responsibility? Why should you not claim your place as the author of your own story, the sculptor of your own destiny? The answer, my dear friends, is that you absolutely should. You must. For in doing so, you not only transform your own life, but you contribute to the transformation of the entire world. As you elevate your own consciousness, as you expand your own sense of what's possible, you lift all of humanity with you. You see, we are all connected. We are all part of the same cosmic tapestry, threads in the same grand design. As you allow more of your true nature to express itself, as you embody more of your divine potential, you give permission to others to do the same. You become a living example of what's possible, a beacon of hope and inspiration for all who cross your path. Why not you? Why should you not be the one to lead by example, to show others the way to their own empowerment? Why should you not be the one to demonstrate the infinite potential that lies within each and every human being? But let me be clear. This is not about becoming something you're not. It's not about forcing yourself into a mold that doesn't fit, or striving to live up to some external standard of success or worthiness. It's about allowing the fullness of who you truly are to express itself in your experience. You are, at your core, pure consciousness. You are awareness itself, taking form in human shape. And within that consciousness lies all possibility, all potential, all that ever was, is, or will be. Your task is simply to align your thinking, your feeling, your being with the particular expression of that infinite potential that calls to your heart. Why not you? Why should you not be the one to fully embody your unique gifts, your particular talents, your individual perspective? The world needs what only you can offer. The universe is eagerly awaiting your unique contribution. So I ask you, what is it you truly desire? What is the life you yearn to live? What is the mark you wish to make upon the world? Allow yourself to feel the full force of that desire. Let it fill you, consume you, become the very essence of your being. And then, my friends, live from that place. Assume the state of consciousness of already being that person, of already living that life, of already having made that impact. For in the realm of imagination, in the world of consciousness, it is already done. Your task is simply to align your outer world with this inner reality. Why not you? Why should you not be the one to bridge the gap between the visible and the invisible, between the actual and the potential, between what is and what could be? You have within you all the resources, all the power, all the creative energy needed to make your dreams a living reality. But remember, this is not about instant gratification or magical thinking. The bridge between your current reality and your desired state is built with consistent, persistent, faithful application of these principles. It requires patience, it demands trust, it calls for unwavering faith. You must be willing to hold fast to your vision, even when the outer world seems to contradict it. You must be prepared to stand firm in your assumed state, even when circumstances appear to deny it. For it is your persistent assumption, your consistent embodiment of the state of wish fulfilled, that will ultimately bring about its manifestation. Why not you? Why should you not be the one to demonstrate the power of faith, the strength of conviction, the transformative potential of unwavering belief. There's no one more qualified, no one more capable, no one more deserving than you. So I challenge you here now to make a decision to no longer play small, to no longer settle for less than you truly desire, to no longer deny the divinity within you, a decision to step fully into your power, to claim your birthright as a creative force in the universe, to become the author of your own magnificent story. Why not you? Why should you not be the one to rise above all limitations, to transcend all boundaries, to break free from all constraints? The power is within you. The choice is yours. But perhaps you're thinking, this all sounds well and good. But how do I actually apply these principles in my daily life? How do I translate this understanding into tangible results? Begin with your imagination. Your imagination is the workshop wherein you craft the life you desire. It is the canvas upon which you paint your preferred reality. It is the laboratory in which you experiment with different states of being. So each day, take time to enter into your imagination. Close your eyes, quiet your mind, and step into the scene of your wish fulfilled. See it clearly, feel it deeply, experience it as if it were happening right now. Engage all your senses. Make it as vivid and as real as you possibly can. Why not you? Why should you not be the one to master this art of mental picturing, this science of intentional imagination? For as you do so, you are impressing upon your subconscious mind the pattern of your desired reality. And your subconscious, that faithful servant, will work tirelessly to bring about the conditions that match your inner image. But remember, it's not enough to merely visualize. You must feel it. You must experience the emotion associated with having your desire fulfilled. For it is the feeling that gives life to the image, that infuses it with the power to manifest. So as you imagine, allow yourself to feel the joy, the excitement, the gratitude of already having that which you desire. Let these emotions permeate your entire being. For feeling is the secret, the bridge between your inner world and your outer reality. Why not you? Why should you not be the one to master your emotions? To harness the creative power of feeling? You have within you the ability to generate any emotional state you choose. Use this power wisely, consciously, deliberately. And then, my friends, carry this feeling with you throughout your day. Let it color your perceptions, influence your actions, shape your interactions. For as you consistently embody the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you align yourself with the frequency of its manifestation. This is not about pretending or faking it. It's about assuming a new state of consciousness, stepping into a new way of being. It's about living from the end, operating from the perspective of already being the person you wish to be, already having that which you desire. Why not you? Why should you not be the one to demonstrate the power of living from the end, of assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled? There is no one more capable, no one more worthy, no one more qualified than you. But perhaps you encounter resistance. Perhaps old doubts creep in, old limiting beliefs rear their heads. To this I say, observe these thoughts and feelings without judgment. Recognize them for what they are, simply old patterns, old habits of mind that no longer serve you. And then gently but firmly choose again. Choose to return to your desired state. Choose to realign yourself with the feeling of your wish fulfilled. For you are not your thoughts, you are not your emotions. You are the awareness that observes them, the consciousness that can choose which ones to entertain and which ones to let go. Why not you? Why should you not be the one to master your mind, to take control of your inner world? The power is within you. The choice is yours. The time is now. As you practice this, as you consistently choose to live from the state of your wish fulfilled, you will begin to notice changes in your outer world. Opportunities will arise, circumstances will shift, people will respond to you differently. For the outer world is but a reflection of your inner state. But be patient, be persistent, be faithful. Remember, you are working with the creative forces of the universe. These forces operate according to their own timing, their own divine order. Your task is simply to hold steady in your assumed state, to maintain the feeling of your wish fulfilled, regardless of appearances. Why not you? Why should you not be the one to demonstrate unwavering faith, unshakable persistence, boundless patience? For these qualities, combined with your imagination and your ability to feel, are the keys to manifesting your desires. And as you walk this path, as you apply these principles in your life, remember this: you are not alone. You are supported by the entire universe. Every force of nature, every law of creation is working in your favor. For you are not separate from the universe. You are an integral part of it, a unique expression of its infinite creativity. So step forward with confidence. Move through your days with assurance. Live your life with the unshakable knowledge that you are the creator of your reality, the author of your story, the God of your universe. Why not you? Why should you not be the one to fully embody this truth? To live from this understanding, to demonstrate to the world the infinite potential that lies within each and every human being. The answer, my dear friends, is that you absolutely should be. You must be. For if not you, then who? This is your moment. This is your time. This is your opportunity to step into the fullness of your divine nature and create a life beyond your wildest dreams. The power is within you, the choice is yours, and the time is now. As we draw this discourse to a close, I implore you to carry these truths with you. Let them permeate your being, guide your thoughts, and shape your actions. Remember that you are not separate from the creative power of the universe. You are that power individualized. Your imagination is the workshop of creation. Your feelings are the fuel that brings your visions to life. And your persistent assumption of the state of wish fulfilled is the bridge between your inner world and your outer reality. Why not you? Why should you not be the one to demonstrate the transformative power of these principles? There is no external authority granting permission, no cosmic gatekeeper deciding who is worthy and who is not. The only permission you need is your own. So grant yourself that permission. Give yourself the authorization to be, do, and have all that you desire. For in truth, you are not becoming something you are not. You are simply allowing the fullness of who you truly are to express itself in your experience. As you leave this place today, I challenge you to see yourself in a new light, to recognize the divinity within you, to acknowledge the infinite potential that lies at your core. Choose to live from this understanding, to operate from this awareness, to make decisions and take actions aligned with this truth. For as you do so, you not only transform your own life, but you contribute to the elevation of all humanity. You become a living example of what's possible, a beacon of hope and inspiration for all who cross your path. And so, my dear friends, I leave you with this final thought. Why not you? Why should you not be the one to live the life of your dreams, to manifest your heart's deepest desires, to make your unique and invaluable contribution to the world? There's no reason, no valid reason at all. The power is within you. The choice is yours. The time is now. Step forward with confidence, move through your days with assurance, and create the life you truly desire. For you are, in the most profound sense, the author of your own magnificent story. Go forth and write it well. My dear friends, tonight we gather to explore a truth so profound, so transformative, that it has the power to reshape your entire existence. We are here to delve into the art of controlling your emotions. But let me tell you, this control is not what you might think. It's not about suppression, not about denial. No, it's about something far more magical, far more powerful. Imagine, if you will, a world where your emotions are not your masters, but your devoted servants. A world where every feeling, every sensation bends to your will like clay in the hands of a skilled sculptor. This world, my dear friends, is not some far-off fantasy. It is available to you right here, right now, in this very moment. You see, your emotions are not some external force that acts upon you. They are not waves that crash over you, leaving you helpless in their wake. No, your emotions are born from within you. They are the children of your thoughts, the offspring of your imagination. And just as a loving parent guides a child, so too can you guide your emotions. But to do this, we must first understand a fundamental truth. Your imagination is the creator of your reality. Everything you see around you, everything you experience, began first as a seed in the fertile soil of your imagination. Your current emotional state, whether it be joy or sorrow, peace or turmoil, is the harvest of seeds you have planted in the past. Now, some of you might be thinking, but Neville, I didn't choose to feel this way. These emotions just happened to me. And to that I say, my dear, you have always been choosing. Every moment of every day you have been making choices. But perhaps you have been choosing unconsciously, allowing old habits and beliefs to... But tonight, right here in this room, we're going to change that. We're going to awaken the conscious creator within you. We're going to put you back in the driver's seat of your emotional life. Let me tell you a story. Many years ago, I knew a man who was consumed by anger. This anger colored his every interaction, poisoned his relationships, and left him feeling constantly on edge. He came to me, desperate for change, believing himself to be a victim of his emotions. I asked this man a simple question. Who is angry? He looked at me confused and said, I am angry, of course. And therein lay the root of his problem. You see, he had identified himself with the emotion. He had said, I am angry, as if anger was his very essence, his very being. But I told him, my friend, you're not angry. You are experiencing anger. There is a world of difference between these two statements. You see, when you say, I am angry, you merge your identity with the emotion. You become it, and it becomes you. But when you say, I'm experiencing anger, you create space between yourself and the emotion. You become the observer of the emotion, rather than the emotion itself. This simple shift in perspective is the first step in controlling your emotions. It's about recognizing that you are not your emotions. You are the awareness behind your emotions. You are the vast, infinite consciousness in which emotions arise and subside like waves on the surface of a deep, calm ocean. Now let's take this a step further. If you are not your emotions, if you are the awareness behind them, then who decides what emotions you experience? Who is the author of your emotional story? My dear friends, it is you. It has always been you. You are the author, the director, and the lead actor in the grand play of your life. Your emotions are merely the script you have written for yourself. And if you don't like the script, well, you have the power to rewrite it. But how? You might ask, how do we rewrite this script? The answer, as always, lies in your imagination. Your imagination is the workshop in which you craft your emotional reality. It is the forge in which you can shape your feelings with the precision of a master blacksmith. Let me give you a technique, a tool so powerful that it can transform your emotional life overnight. I call it living from the end. Here's how it works. Instead of focusing on the emotion you're currently experiencing, imagine the emotion you want to experience. Feel it as vividly as you can. Immerse yourself in it completely. Let's say you want to experience more joy in your life. Close your eyes for a moment. Imagine a scene that implies you are already joyful. Perhaps you see yourself laughing with friends or walking with a light step and a smile on your face. Make this scene as real as you can in your imagination. See the colors, hear the sounds, feel the sensations in your body. Feel the feeling of joy. Let it fill your entire being. Let it saturate every cell of your body. Breathe it in, let it course through your veins. Feel it so completely that for a moment you forget that you were ever anything but joyful. This, my friends, is what it means to live from the end. You are not trying to become joyful. In your imagination, you are already joyful. You are experiencing the end result now in this very moment. Some of you might be thinking, but Neville, this is just pretending. It's not real. And to that I say, everything in your world began as an act of imagination. The clothes you're wearing, the chair you're sitting on, the very building we're in, all of these were once just ideas in someone's mind. Your imagination is the womb of creation. What you imagine with feeling becomes your reality. Now, I want you to understand something very important. This technique is not about forcing yourself to feel a certain way. It's not about gritting your teeth and trying to manufacture an emotion. That approach would only lead to frustration and disappointment. No, this is about aligning yourself with the feeling you desire. It's about tuning your inner state to match the frequency of the emotion you wish to experience. Just as the radio must be tuned to the right frequency to receive a particular station, so must you tune your consciousness to receive the emotions you desire. And here's a beautiful truth. The more you practice this, the easier it becomes. It's like building a muscle. At first, it might feel difficult or awkward. You might only be able to hold the feeling for a few seconds. But with practice, you'll be able to summon any emotion at will, to bathe in it, to let it infuse your entire being. But remember, my dear friends, this is not about escaping from negative emotions. It's not about running away from sadness or anger or fear. These emotions are part of the human experience, and they have their place. They can teach us, guide us, show us where we need to grow. The goal is not to eliminate these emotions, but to master them. To be able to move through them consciously, to experience them fully without being controlled by them. When you can do this, you'll find that even the most challenging emotions become opportunities for growth and transformation. Let me share another story with you. I once knew a woman who was plagued by anxiety. She lived in constant fear of the future, always imagining worst-case scenarios. Her anxiety was like a prison, keeping her trapped in a state of perpetual worry and stress. I taught her this technique of living from the end. I asked her to imagine a scene that implied she was already calm and confident. She chose to imagine herself giving a presentation at work, feeling completely at ease, her voice strong and steady, her audience engaged and appreciative. At first, she struggled. The habit of anxiety was so ingrained that it felt almost impossible to imagine anything else. But she persisted. Every night before sleep and every morning upon waking, she would spend a few minutes living in this imaginal scene. Gradually, something began to shift. She noticed that she felt calmer during the day. When anxious thoughts arose, she was able to observe them without getting caught up in them. And then, a few weeks later, she had to give a real presentation at work. To her amazement, she felt calm and confident. The imaginal scene she had been practicing became her reality. She gave the presentation with ease and grace, receiving praise from her colleagues and superiors. This, my friends, is the power of controlled imagination. This woman didn't try to fight her anxiety directly. She didn't engage in endless positive affirmations or try to reason herself out of her fear. Instead, she simply lived in her imagination as the person she wanted to be. And in doing so, she became that person. Now, I want to address something that might be coming up for some of you. You might be thinking, but Neville, what about when really difficult things happen? What about when I experience loss or betrayal or failure? Surely I can't control my emotions then. My dear friends, it is precisely in these moments that this practice becomes most powerful. You see, you cannot always control what happens to you. The external world will always have its ups and downs, its joys and sorrows, but you can always control your reaction to what happens. You can always choose how you interpret and respond to events. When faced with a challenging situation, instead of immediately reacting with fear or anger or despair, pause. Take a breath. Remember that you are not your emotions, you are the awareness behind your emotions. From this place of awareness, you can choose how to respond. Perhaps you choose to respond with courage in the face of fear. Perhaps you choose compassion in the face of anger. Perhaps you choose hope in the face of despair. The choice is always yours. Here's a powerful truth. When you change your emotional response to a situation, you change the situation itself. Your emotions are creative forces. They shape your perception, influence your actions, and ultimately determine your experience of reality. Let me give you an example. Imagine two people who both lose their jobs. The first person reacts with fear and despair. They see this as a disaster, a confirmation of their worst fears about themselves and the world. This emotional state colors their every action. They approach job interviews with desperation, which potential employers can sense. They may even give up looking altogether, convinced that it's hopeless. Now imagine the second person. They choose to see this as an opportunity for growth and change. They feel excited about the possibilities that have opened up. This emotional state energizes them. They approach job interviews with confidence and enthusiasm. They use this time to explore new interests and skills. Which person do you think is more likely to not only find a new job, but to find one that truly fulfills them? You see, your emotions are not just reactions to the world. They are creative forces that shape your world. When you master your emotions, you become the master of your life. But let me be clear. This mastery doesn't happen overnight. It's a practice, a lifelong journey of self-discovery and growth. There will be times when you falter, when old habits resurface, when emotions seem to overwhelm you. And that's okay. That's part of the process. The key is to be patient with yourself, to treat yourself with kindness and compassion. Remember, you're not trying to eliminate emotions or achieve some state of perfect control. You're learning to dance with your emotions, to move with them gracefully rather than being moved by them. Now, let's talk about another powerful tool, emotional mastery. The power of your self-talk. The words you use, both in your inner dialogue and in your speech, have a profound impact on your emotional state. When you say, I am angry, or I am sad, you are making a statement about your identity. You are saying that this emotion is who you are. But when you say, I am experiencing anger, or I am feeling sadness, you create space between yourself and the emotion. You acknowledge the emotion without identifying with it. This subtle shift in language can have a profound effect on your emotional experience. It allows you to observe your emotions without being consumed by them. It puts you in a position of power where you can choose how to respond to the emotion rather than simply reacting. I want you to try something right now. Think of an emotion you've been struggling with lately. Now, instead of saying, say to yourself, I am experiencing emotion. Notice how this feels different. Notice the space it creates. The sense of perspective it gives you. This is not just a mental trick. It's a fundamental shift in your relationship with your emotions. It's a recognition of your true nature as the awareness behind your emotions rather than the emotions themselves. Now let's take this a step further. Instead of saying, I am experiencing emotion, try saying, I am choosing to experience this experience. This might feel strange at first. You might think, but I didn't choose to feel this way. And yet, on a deeper level, you did. You see, every emotion arises from a thought, a belief, an interpretation of events. And these thoughts and beliefs are choices, even if they're unconscious ones. By saying, I am choosing to experience the emotion, you are reclaiming your power. You are acknowledging that if you can choose to experience this emotion, you can also choose to experience a different one. This doesn't mean you should deny or suppress your current emotional state. It's important to acknowledge and accept your emotions as they are. But by recognizing your emotions as choices, you open up the possibility of making different choices. Now, I want to address something that might be coming up for some of you. You might be thinking, but Neville, sometimes I feel overwhelmed by my emotions. They seem to come out of nowhere and take over. How can I control that? My dear friends, what you're describing is what I call emotional momentum. Just as a boulder rolling down a hill gathers speed and becomes harder to stop, so too can our emotions gather momentum if we let them. The key is to catch the emotion early, before it gains too much momentum. This requires developing a keen awareness of your emotional state. It requires being present in your body, attentive to the subtle shifts in your feelings. One powerful way to develop this awareness is through what I call the emotional check-in. Several times throughout your day, pause and ask yourself, what am I feeling right now? Don't judge the emotion or try to change it. Simply observe it with curiosity and compassion. As you practice this, you'll become more attuned to the ebb and flow of your emotions. You'll start to notice patterns. Perhaps certain situations or thoughts tend to trigger certain emotions. This awareness is the first step in emotional mastery. Once you've identified an emotion, especially one that you'd like to change, you can use your imagination to shift it. Remember, your imagination is the most powerful tool you have for emotional control. Let's say you notice yourself feeling anxious. Instead of getting caught up in anxious thoughts, pause, take a breath. Then, use your imagination to create a scene that implies the opposite of anxiety. Perhaps you see yourself calm and confident, moving through your day with ease. Feel that calmness and confidence as vividly as you can. You're not trying to force the anxiety away. You're simply shifting your focus to a different emotional state. And where your attention goes, energy flows. By focusing on calmness and confidence, you begin to embody those qualities. Now, some of you might be wondering, but Neville, what about when I'm in a situation where I can't pause and use my imagination? What about when I need to respond quickly? This is where preparation comes in. Just as an athlete trains for a competition, you can train for emotional challenges. Spend time each day imagining yourself responding to various situations with emotional mastery. See yourself staying calm under pressure, responding with wisdom and grace to challenge. The more you practice this in your imagination, the more natural it will become in your daily life. Your nervous system doesn't distinguish between vividly imagined experiences and real ones. So by repeatedly imagining yourself responding with emotional mastery, you're actually training your nervous system to respond that way in real situations. Remember, my friends, every master was once a beginner. Every person who has achieved great emotional control once struggled with their feelings. The difference is not in their inherent abilities, but in their commitment to practice and growth. Now, let's talk about something that's often overlooked in discussions about emotional control. The role of your physical state. Your emotions are not just mental experiences. They have a physical component as well. Each emotion has a corresponding pattern of physical sensations, breath, and muscle tension. By learning to recognize and influence these physical patterns, you can gain greater control over your emotions. For example, anxiety often involves shallow, rapid breathing and tension in the shoulders and chest. By consciously deepening your breaths and relaxing your muscles, you can begin to shift out of the anxious state. I want you to try something right now. Wherever you are, whatever you're feeling, take a deep breath. Inhale slowly through your nose, filling your lungs completely. Hold it for a moment, then exhale slowly through your mouth. As you exhale, consciously relax your muscles, letting go of any tension you're holding. Do you notice a shift in how you feel? Even this simple act of conscious breathing can have a profound effect on your emotional state. It brings you to the present moment, into your body, and out of the swirling thoughts that often fuel difficult emotions. This is a tool you can use anytime, anywhere. Whenever you notice yourself getting caught up in an emotion you'd rather not experience, pause and take a few conscious breaths. It's a simple yet powerful way to regain your emotional center. Now let's talk about another crucial aspect of emotional control. Understanding the purpose of your emotions. You see, every emotion serves a function. Even the emotions we typically label as negative have an important role to play in our lives. Anger, for instance, can be a signal that a boundary has been crossed or that something needs to change. Fear can alert us to potential dangers and help keep us safe. Sadness can help us process loss and connect with others through shared experiences of grief. When we understand the purpose of our emotions, we can work with them rather than against them. This understanding allows us to approach our emotions with curiosity rather than judgment. Instead of trying to push away or suppress an emotion, we can ask ourselves, what is this emotion trying to tell me? What need is it pointing to? This shift in perspective can transform our relationship with our emotions, turning even challenging feelings into opportunities for growth and self-discovery. We come to the end of our time together. I want to remind you of a fundamental truth. You are not a victim of your emotions. You are the creator of your emotional reality. Every feeling you experience is a result of your thoughts, your beliefs, and ultimately your imagination. By harnessing the power of your imagination, by living from the end, by choosing your self-talk carefully, and by understanding the purpose of your emotions, you can take control of your emotional life in a way you might never have thought possible. Remember, this is not about achieving some state of permanent happiness, or eliminating all negative emotions. It's about developing the ability to navigate your emotional landscape with grace and wisdom. It's about being able to experience the full range of human emotions without being controlled by them. It's about using your emotions as tools for growth and creation, rather than allowing them to be obstacles in your path. My dear friends, as you leave here tonight, I encourage you to put these principles into practice. Start small. Choose one emotion you'd like to work with and begin to apply these techniques. Be patient with yourself. Remember, you are embarking on a journey of lifelong growth and self-discovery. And as you master your emotions, you will find that you have mastered life itself. For when you can control your inner world, the outer world naturally falls into harmony with your desires. Go forth, my friends, and create the emotional reality you desire. The power is within you, always has been and always will be. Ladies and gentlemen, our topic today is force yourself to build the strongest mindset. And I assure you, the power to cultivate an unshakable mind lies within you at this very moment. Now, when I speak of forcing yourself, I'm not referring to the brute force of will or the struggle against external circumstances. No, I'm speaking of a far greater force, the force of your imagination, the force of your consciousness, the force of your I am. This force, when properly understood and applied, can build a mindset so strong that it can move mountains, reshape reality, and manifest your deepest desires. You see, my dear friends, the secret to building the strongest mindset is not found in the world outside of you. It's not in the books you read, the seminars you attend, or the advice you receive from others. The true secret, the infallible method of forging an indomitable mind, lies in your imagination, in your ability to see and feel yourself as the person you desire to be, as if you already possess the strongest mindset imaginable. Let us begin by understanding a fundamental truth. Your imagination is not a mere faculty for daydreaming or escaping reality. Your imagination is the very creative power of the universe, individualized in you. It is, in fact, your real self. It is God in action within you. When you truly grasp this concept, when you internalize it and live from this understanding, you will have discovered the key to building the strongest mindset possible. Now, you might be thinking, but Neville, how can my imagination build a strong mindset? How can mere thoughts and feelings lead to concrete changes in my mental strength? And to this I say, your imagination is not mere anything. It is the very substance of reality. The world you see around you, the circumstances of your life, the very strength of your mind, are nothing more than the outpicturing of your dominant mental states, your habitual thoughts and feelings. Have you ever noticed how your experiences seem to confirm your beliefs about yourself and the world? If you believe life is a struggle, don't you find evidence of that struggle everywhere you look? And if you believe in your own mental strength, doesn't life seem to present you with opportunities to demonstrate that strength? This is not mere coincidence, my friends. This is the law of your own being in action. To build the strongest mindset, to truly force yourself to new heights of mental toughness, you must learn to use your imagination deliberately, consciously. You must learn to live from the end, to experience in your imagination the feeling of possessing an unshakable mind, to dwell in the state of the mentally strong person you wish to be, as if it were already a fact. Let me give you a simple example. Suppose you wish to develop unwavering focus and concentration. The conventional approach would be to practice meditation, to eliminate distractions, to force yourself to concentrate for longer periods. And while these actions may have their place, they are not the true cause of mental strength. The true cause is your concept of yourself, your inner conviction of being a person with unshakable focus. To build this mental strength, you would need to imagine yourself as already possessing this unwavering focus. Feel the satisfaction, the clarity, the power that comes with such mental control. Sleep in the assumption of this mental strength. Live your days from the inner conviction that you are a person with an ironclad focus. Do this with feeling, with conviction, and watch as your outer world reshapes itself to match your inner assumption. This principle applies to every aspect of mental strength. Resilience, determination, courage, emotional control. Whatever mental quality you desire to cultivate, imagine it as already accomplished. Feel the naturalness of it. Live from that state. And your outer experiences must conform to your inner conviction. Now, I can almost hear some of you thinking, but Neville, isn't this just positive thinking? Isn't this denying the reality of our mental weaknesses? And to this I say, what you call reality is nothing more than the outpicturing of past thoughts and assumptions. It has no power to constrain you, unless you give it that power. Your true reality, the only reality that matters, is your consciousness, your awareness, your I am. You see, my dear friends, you are not a helpless victim of your current mental state. You are the operant power in your world. You are the one who decides what is possible or impossible for your mind. You are the one who chooses your state of consciousness. And by extension, the mental strength that flows from that state. To build the strongest mindset, you must be willing to challenge your current concept of your mental capabilities. You must be willing to live from the end, to assume the feeling of possessing an unshakable mind. Even when your current experiences deny it, this takes courage. It takes faith, but most of all, it takes persistence. Let me share with you a profound truth. Your current mental state is dead. It has no life of its own. It is your consciousness that animates it, that gives it meaning and power. When you change your consciousness, when you change your concept of your mental capabilities, your actual mental strength must change to reflect this new concept. This is why I often say that creation is finished. All possible states of mind exist now, in this moment. Your job is not to create these states, but to occupy them through your imagination. When you imagine yourself as the mentally strong person you wish to be, when you feel the naturalness of being that person, you are literally moving into that state of being. And once you occupy a state, the mental strength and experiences that belong to that state must unfold in your life. Now, some of you might be wondering, but how long will it take for my imaginal act to materialize in my actual mental strength? And to this I say, time is an illusion of the outer world. In the realm of imagination, in the realm of true causation, there is no time. The moment you assume the feeling of possessing the strongest mindset, it is done. Your outer experiences may take time to reflect this change, but in reality, the change has already occurred. Your task, then, is to persist in your assumption. Do not waver. Do not look to your current mental state for confirmation. Your imagination, your assumption is the only confirmation you need. Live from the end, day after day, night after night, and watch as your mental strength transforms to match your inner conviction. This, my friends, is how you can force yourself to build the strongest mindset. This is the secret to developing unshakable mental toughness. It's not about struggling against your current limitations. It's about changing the cause of those limitations. Your own wonderful human imagination. Let me give you another example to illustrate this principle. Suppose you desire to develop unbreakable resilience in the face of adversity. The conventional approach would be to expose yourself to challenges, to practice bouncing back from failures, to build up your tolerance for discomfort, but from the perspective of imagination. These actions, while potentially useful, are not the true cause of your resilience. Instead, imagine yourself already possessing this unbreakable resilience. Feel the calm confidence of knowing that no setback can defeat you. Experience the inner peace of being unmoved by external circumstances. Feel the strength that comes from knowing you can handle anything life throws at you. Live from this state in your imagination. Go to sleep feeling the naturalness of being this resilient person. Persist in this assumption and watch as your actual resilience reshapes itself to match your inner conviction. You see, my dear friends, when you imagine, feel yourself to be the mentally strong person you want to be, you are literally rearranging the substance of the universe. You are impressing upon the subconscious mind, which is one with the universal mind, a new concept of yourself. And the subconscious mind, being impersonal and non-selective, must accept this new concept as fact and proceed to bring it into manifestation. This is why I often emphasize the importance of feeling. It's not enough to merely visualize or affirm your desired mental state. You must feel it. You must experience the emotion that would be yours if you already possess this mental strength. It is feeling that impresses the subconscious and sets the wheels of manifestation in motion. Now, I want to address a common misconception. Some of you might think that this teaching encourages passivity, that if imagination creates reality, there's no need for actual mental exercise or practice. But this is a misunderstanding. Action will come, but it will be inspired action, action that flows naturally from your new state of being. When you have truly assumed the state of possessing the strongest mindset, you will find yourself naturally doing the things that a mentally strong person would do. You won't have to force yourself to face challenges or practice resilience. The right actions will flow spontaneously from your new self-concept. This is why I say that imagination is superior to willpower. Willpower implies struggle. It implies forcing yourself to do something against your natural inclinations. But when you change your self-concept through imagination, your actions flow effortlessly in alignment with your new state of being. Let's delve deeper into the mechanics of this process. When you imagine yourself as the mentally strong person you wish to be, when you feel the reality of possessing an unshakable mindset, you are literally changing your vibration, your energetic frequency. And since like attracts like, you begin to attract experiences, people, and circumstances that match this new frequency of mental strength. This is not magic or mysticism. This is the law of your own being in action. Just as a radio must be tuned to a specific frequency to receive a particular podcast, you must be tuned to the frequency of mental strength to receive its manifestation in your life. Now, some of you might be thinking, but Neville, I've tried this and it didn't work. I imagine myself as mentally strong, but I still struggle with the same old weaknesses. And to this I say, examine your imaginal act. Did you truly feel the reality possessing this mental strength? Did you persist in that feeling, or did you allow doubts and contradictory thoughts to creep in? You see, my dear friends, imagination is not a one-time event. It's not something you do for a few minutes and then forget about. To build the strongest mindset, you must live from your imaginal act. You must make it your new reality, your new normal. Think of it this way. If you were to move to a new country, it might feel strange and uncomfortable at first. But if you persisted in living there, day after day, eventually it would become familiar. It would become your new normal. The same principle applies to your imaginal acts of mental strength. Persist in them until they become your new normal. Until the state of mental toughness you've imagined feels more real to you than your current mental state. This persistence, this faithfulness to your imaginal act, is what separates those who succeed in building the strongest mindset from those who fail. It's not enough to imagine yourself as mentally strong once or twice. You must live from that imagined state, day in and day out, until it externalizes itself in your actual mental strength. Let me address another question that often arises. What if I have multiple aspects of mental strength I want to develop? Can I imagine and manifest more than one quality at a time? And to this I say, focus on the essence of what mental strength means to you. Often what we think of as separate qualities are just different expressions of a core state of being. For instance, you might think you want to develop resilience, focus, and emotional control separately. But at their core, these all stem from a state of inner peace, of unshakable self-assurance. Focus on embodying that core state in your imagination. Feel yourself as a person who is at peace, who is sure of themselves, who is mentally strong in all situations. Live from that state. And you may find that all these separate qualities naturally develop as expressions of this core mental strength. Remember, the power that creates worlds is within you. It knows how to bring about the fulfillment of your desire for mental strength in ways that you may not be able to conceive with your conscious mind. Your job is to assume the feeling of already possessing this mental strength and to persist in that assumption. The how and when of its manifestation is not your concern. This brings us to another crucial point. Detachment. To truly succeed in building the strongest mindset, You must learn to detach from the outcome. This doesn't mean you don't care about developing mental strength. It means that once you've done your imaginal work, once you've assumed the feeling of possessing an unshakable mind, you release it. You don't anxiously look for signs of improvement in your mental state. You don't worry about how or when you'll become mentally stronger. Instead, you rest in the confidence that what you have imagined must come to pass. You live your life from the state of already possessing this mental strength. This detachment, this inner peace and confidence is itself a powerful attractor. It aligns you with the flow of life, opening you up to experiences that will confirm and reinforce your new mental state. Now, I want to address something that many of you may have experienced. Sometimes when you begin to apply these principles, when you start living from your imaginal act of mental strength, you may face challenges or setbacks that seem to contradict your desire. You may find yourself in situations that test your mental resolve even more than before. Do not be discouraged by this. What's happening is that old patterns and beliefs are being uprooted to make way for your new state of being. This is often called a bridge of incidents, the series of events that must occur to bring about the fulfillment of your desire for mental strength. During these times, it's crucial to persist in your assumption. Do not be swayed by appearances. Remember, your current mental state is a shadow, reflection of past thoughts and beliefs. Your new assumption of mental strength, if persisted in, must ultimately bear fruit. This persistence in the face of contrary evidence is what I call living by faith. It's not blind faith in some external power. It's faith in the power of your own imagination, faith in the law of your own being. It's knowing that what you have imagined and felt as real must inevitably express itself in your actual mental strength. Let me share with you a personal experience to illustrate this point. Years ago, when I first began to apply these principles to develop mental strength, I imagined myself as a person with unwavering focus and emotional control. At the time, this seemed impossible. I was easily distracted, prone to emotional ups and downs, and often doubted my own mental capabilities. But I persisted in my imagination. Night after night, I would fall asleep, feeling the satisfaction of possessing an unshakable mind. I felt the calm confidence of being emotionally stable in all situations. I lived from this state in my imagination, even as my outer circumstances showed no immediate sign of change. And then gradually things began to shift. I found myself naturally gravitating towards practices that enhanced my focus. I noticed that I was responding to challenging situations with more calm and clarity. Step by step, my imagined state of mental strength externalized itself in my actual experiences. This, my dear friends, is how you can force yourself to build the strongest mindset. This is how you can develop unshakable mental toughness. It's not about struggling against your current limitations. It's about changing your concept of yourself, living from the end, and allowing your actual mental state to reshape itself to match your inner assumption. Now, as we continue our exploration of this profound truth, I want to emphasize a crucial point. Building the strongest mindset through imagination is not about escaping reality or living in a fantasy world. It's about understanding the true nature of reality and your role in shaping it. You see, what most people call reality is merely a world of effects. It's the result, the outcome of previous mental activity. But you, as a creative being, live in the world of causes. Your imagination, your consciousness is the cause behind every effect in your life. When you truly grasp this, you'll understand that forcing yourself to build the strongest mindset isn't about struggling against your current mental state. It's about assuming a new state in your imagination, knowing that this new state must inevitably express itself in your experience. Consider the option. Every scientific breakthrough, every great achievement in human history began as an idea, an imaginal act. The Wright brothers imagined human flight before it became a reality. Einstein imagined riding on a beam of light before he formulated his theory of relativity. In the same way, you must imagine your ideal mental state before it can become your reality. It's not enough to simply visualize or think about having a strong mindset. You must feel it. You must experience the emotion of possessing this mental strength. Emotion is the secret sauce that makes your imaginal acts potent and effective. When you combine vivid imagination with genuine feeling, you create a powerful force that the subconscious mind cannot resist. Your subconscious doesn't distinguish between what you vividly imagine and what you actually experience. It accepts the imaginal act as reality and proceeds to bring it into manifestation. Now, some of you might be wondering, but Neville, what about discipline? What about habit formation? Aren't these important for building a strong mindset? And to this I say, yes, these have their place, but they're secondary to the power of your imagination. You see, when you truly live from the state of possessing the strongest mindset, discipline and positive habits flow naturally. You won't need to force yourself to be disciplined because in your imagination, you are already a disciplined person. The outer acts of discipline become a natural expression of your inner state. This is why I often say, change your conception of yourself, and you will automatically change the world in which you live. When you change your concept of yourself to that of a mentally strong person, your actions and habits will naturally align with this new self-concept. You'll find yourself naturally drawn to activities and practices that enhance your mental strength, not out of a sense of obligation or struggle, but because they are a natural expression of who you now believe yourself to be. Let's delve deeper into this process of forcing yourself to build the strongest mindset through imagination. Remember, when I say force, I'm not referring to willpower or struggle. I'm talking about the force of your consciousness, the power of your I am. Imagine for a moment that you're an actor preparing for a role. The character you're going to play has an incredibly strong mindset, unshakable confidence, unwavering focus, remarkable resilience. How would you prepare for this role? You'd study the character. You'd imagine how they think, how they feel, how they react to different situations. You'd begin to embody their mental state. This is exactly what you must do to build the strongest mindset. You must become the actor and the character at the same time. You must imagine and feel yourself as already possessing this unshakable mental strength. You must live from this state. Now, here's a practical exercise to help you do this. Each night, as you're falling asleep, imagine a scene that implies you already possess the strongest mindset. Perhaps you see yourself calmly handling a challenging situation that would have previously overwhelmed you. Or maybe you imagine a friend congratulating you on your remarkable mental toughness. Whatever scene you choose, make it as vivid as possible. See it clearly in your mind's eye. Hear the sounds, feel the textures. Most importantly, feel the emotion of already possessing this mental strength. Feel the calm confidence, the unshakable self-assurance. Fall asleep in this state, knowing that as you sleep, your subconscious mind is accepting this imaginal act as reality. Do this night after night, and soon you'll notice changes in your waking life. You'll find yourself responding to challenges with more ease. You'll notice an increase in your focus and resilience. Your mindset will begin to align with what you've imagined. But remember, this is not a one-time event. Building the strongest mindset is an ongoing process. You must persist in your imaginal acts. Even as you begin to see changes in your outer world, continue to live from the state of possessing unshakable mental strength in your imagination. Now let's address a common obstacle that many face when applying these principles. Often, when we start to imagine ourselves as mentally stronger, our current limitations seem to shout even louder. We become more aware of our mental weaknesses, and this can be discouraging. But I want you to understand something crucial. This increased awareness of your current limitations is not a sign of failure. It's actually a sign that change is beginning to occur. You see, before you can fully embody a new state, the old state must be uprooted. This process can be uncomfortable, but it's necessary. During these times, it's vital to persist in your imaginal acts. Don't be swayed by appearances. Remember, your current mental state is just a shadow of past thoughts and beliefs. Your new assumption, if persisted in, must ultimately bear fruit. This persistence in the face of contrary evidence is what separates those who succeed in building the strongest mindset from those who fail. It's not enough to imagine yourself as mentally strong once or twice. You must live from that imagined state, day in and day out, until it externalizes itself in your actual mental strength. As we near the conclusion of our discussion, I want to emphasize a point that cannot be overstated. You are not a victim of your current mental state. You are the operant power in your world. You are the one who decides what is possible or impossible for your mind. You are the one who chooses your state of consciousness. And by extension, the mental strength that flows from that state. To build the strongest mindset, you must be willing to challenge your current concept of your mental capabilities. You must be willing to live from the end, to assume the feeling of possessing an unshakable mind, even when your current experiences deny it. This takes courage, it takes faith, but most of all, it takes persistence. Remember, creation is finished. All possible states of mind exist now in this moment. Your job is not to create these states, but to occupy them through your imagination. When you imagine yourself as the mentally strong person you wish to be, when you feel the naturalness of being that person, you are literally moving into that state of being. And once you occupy a state, the mental strength and experiences that belong to that state must unfold in your life. In closing, I want to leave you with this thought. The strongest mindset is not something you achieve. It's something you assume, something you embody, something you become. And the power to become that mentally strong person lies within you right now, in this very moment. So, my dear friends, I urge you to use your imagination wisely and persistently. Force yourself to build the strongest mindset, not through struggle or willpower, but through the creative power of your consciousness. Imagine vividly, feel deeply, and persist faithfully in your assumption of mental strength. Do this, and you will become the embodiment of the unshakable mind you desire. Remember, you are the author of your mental state. You are the sculptor of your mindset. The power to shape your mental world lies in your imagination. Use it wisely, use it consistently, and watch as your mental strength grows to match your inner vision. Go forth with this knowledge. Apply these principles diligently and become the mentally strong person you've imagined. Your unshakable mindset awaits you. Claim it now in your imagination, and it must become your reality. Thank you. And may your journey to the strongest mindset be filled with wonderful discoveries about the power within you.